King. You are my King. Jesus, you are my King.
Website images are important in website development. However, we need to be careful when we consider the size of the images, because the last thing we want is to have somebody go to our website, click a link, and there's a pause and text comes up, but then there's images missing. It makes you look bad. Hi, this is Scott Parrott, and we want to talk about website images and also placing images on your WordPress blogs. I belong to a membership called Niche Profit Classrooms, and sometimes and we'll put up a variety of different types of niche websites, or actually niche blogs, and it's always advisable to use images. Images help to add flavor, sort of say, to the content. It keeps your visitor on the website longer, and it also causes visitors to make clicks. For instance, when they run across this image, if it's a link, they'll click it. One thing that's very important is the size of the image. For instance, if you download a high definition image from a photo site or from your camera, it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or even 8 megapixels, and that's just way too big to put on your website. So what we have to do is go through the process of optimizing the image. And an image like this, if it was taken on a camera, it might be 4,000 pixels, which would be way larger than this screen. This image is probably about 400 pixels. The above image is around 800 pixels. And I did this image, and what I did was create the image in Photoshop, and then I used a function in Photoshop to optimize the image, which makes it smaller in terms of how many pixels are actually inside the image. I won't get into specifics, but just know that the smaller the image, the faster it's going to load on the computer, and the visitor is going to stay on your site and cruise through your site. If you have a website that pops up and it's slow and it drags on and the text comes up and the images are just coming on slowly, people will lose interest and leave. So I want to take a quick look at this image. In this case, when I loaded this page, this image took forever to load up, and I suspected that it was probably an image that wasn't optimized. One of the ways to check out if an image is optimized is to hold your cursor over the image, right click it, and what you can do is go for view image information, and we can see from this image that it's 1,000 kilobytes. That's like way too big. So this was an original image. It looks like it was taken from a some sort of site, or maybe even a camera. So what we need to do is take this image and optimize it so that the image shows up fast. Also, what you can see in this image is that it's 1600 pixels wide, and although it's not 1600 pixels wide on the web page, the WordPress has automatically taken and shrunk down the image. However, it still retains the original size in terms of pixels or bytes. So what we need to do is go through a process of taking this image and reducing it down to size. If you have Photoshop and know how to use Photoshop, you know that there's a function in Photoshop to reduce the image. Most people don't, but quick search on Google for free image optimizers will show us a couple of sites in different places that we can find to to go through the process. I found one called Wordpress.com resizer. These things don't last too long. Since I said that, it might be here for 10 years. But you can do a search on image optimizing or resizing or free image optimizer, and you'll find something that will work. So I'm going to take you through that process. And one more thing, what we need to know is the width that we want our image. I'm not exactly sure, although I know this is about close to 800 pixels. So a 400 to 500 pixel wide image will work for us. If we can reduce this big honking image down to 400 or 500 pixels, it will load up really quick. Alright, we're over at this site, webresizer.com, and what we do is we're going to look for an image on our local machine. And what I want to find is, okay, now notice a window pops up and it tells me that the size on the very bottom is 1.46 megabytes, and it's 1698 pixels wide. So I know this is big image, and this is the one that I want to use on that site, and that's the one that would happen to be on that site. So all I have to do is click this image, open, and next click this button to upload it. I'll wait a second while that up. Okay, it takes about a minute, and what we end up with is, let me move this over just a little bit. We have the optimized image, and it's 49 kilobytes. It's 96% smaller, and the width is 400 pixels by 266. And this is the original image. We can compare the size in kilobytes. This is 1500 kilobytes, and it's almost 1700 pixels wide. So we shrunk this down quite a bit. We could go further and do further editing on this image, and let's say that we wanted this to be 500 pixels wide, so we change this to 500. You can do things like sharpen the if this were a little blurry, you could try sharpening it, maybe 60 or 70. You could play around with these if you want to, but it's really not necessary. You can add a border to it. These are really irrelevant. Basically, we just want to shrink down the image in both actual physical size and the number of pixels. So if we wanted to change this back to 500, what we would do is apply changes. And then we can see that the pixel size went up to the kilobyte size went up to 59 kilobytes, and now it's 500 pixels by 333. So if we want this image, we can now download the image just by clicking a button, and it assigns it takes the existing name and it adds its /optimize to it, so we're not overwriting the original image. Okay, I found out where my file is, and what I'm going to do is rename this. I'm going to call it Gators 500px and hit save, and it downloads it to my computer.